Hey ladies, how's it going? Rose and Natalia here with you. And today we're going to be talking about our favorite topic in the whole world, stress and hormones. And we were just kind of like giggling as we were coming online here to chat with you ladies. So it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal. My goodness. I mean, it affects every area of our life. And oftentimes what happens is that by the time that we are kind of like at our wits end and we are willing to ask for help, the taking that next step of then actually making a decision on who to have help us and what plan we should do, and then adding of course like the support and the accountability, and then like the paying for that on top of it, like that just feels like way too much to handle. you know and it's just so interesting what happens for us. Like of course, like as soon as we make that decision and that commitment, it's like, oh my god, like it's like a weight lifted off of our heart once we start to have our food in place and have that consistency and have that support and the accountability, and we're starting to eat better and drink more water, and we start to get our energy back. Like all of a sudden we have more space, more thought space, right? More like space feeling in our hearts to like make better decisions for ourselves. But like my goodness, like what do we do in that funky like in between time? Natalia, do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
And it's like I often giggle, right? Like I think on my YouTube channel, like one of the comments, this guy said, he was like, the seriousness of what she's talking about is like it's distracting by her giggle. And I'm like, man, part part of my values in life is laughter and being able to giggle and laugh at yourself. And if you can't laugh at yourself, then I don't know, it's not really much of a life worth living, in my humble opinion. But it's also a release, right? Energetically, in terms of like stress, it feels good to like lighten the intensity with a different vibe, with a different emotion, with like a little bit of laughter, right? It's like just kind of shaking it off. Actually, in nature, which is really cool. If you look at like nature channel stuff, right, where there's like the gazelle and it's being chased by a tiger, right? And like it's just kind of like hanging out, hanging out. And then all of a sudden it's like, stress. And it's just like all the adrenaline goes and it's like booking it and trying to like run away from the tiger. And then like a gazelle can actually outrun, like has more stamina than a tiger does typically. And so they'll often get away unless they're like hurt or maimed or young or something like that. And so if the camera follows them, they'll notice that like as soon as the gazelle notices that they're out of harm's way, of danger, of like whatever was chasing them, so they'll kind of like calm down, they'll look around a little bit, and then they'll go like this. Like they literally shake it off. So like that song, I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off. People just go like, when you have like an issue, it's just like, I'm just gonna shaking that person off. I'm shaking that idea off, like getting our physical body in to help us out in response to getting that tension, the stress and tension and anxiety that kind of like builds throughout the day. Like we can actually move that. It's like totally a natural thing. I remember when I learned that, I was like, well, no wonder.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, about the stress. So tell us some times that you felt like you were just, it was too much to even make one more decision for yourself.
Time, I don't even know. So many times. Literally though, like just along this like one little simple thing is like, you and I have been in a conversation several times, like, or on Marco Polo or something. And it's like inspiring when you're like cracking the heck up about whatever it was, like for me, when I do get I take things very seriously. And But I also was raised by a mother who, taught me to like laugh at yourself, like just chill out, especially when I was like a teenager. She's just like, whoa, dude, like, oh, it's not that serious. Like, or if you trip and fall, it's like, dude, that is funny. That is like comedy. Take the moment, and like, yeah, I get into that sometimes, and I literally just like love it so much. When that crazy stuff is going down and you are over there laughing about it, I am just like, thank goodness for that. And let's just keep that up, It's like medicine. It's like so important. It really is. But it's hard for me to remember that. So it's good to like have those people around reminding you like this.
I'm telling you, I mean, that's part of like what having a positive community is really all about, right? I mean, it's about like that post I did a couple of days ago where I said, like, changing my blank changes everything. And like most of the comments, most of you ladies put something in there to the effect of my mind, my mindset, my beliefs, right? Like when we check our thinking, our perspective, and all of those things, that it doesn't take any action or any effort. Like we don't need to sweat to, or or to go somewhere or buy something, or it's not out there. Like a lot of what happens is just the way that we're thinking about it. And what I've noticed is that when we put ourselves on that back burner, right? Like that is a belief system. Like, yeah, we're physically doing things oftentimes to help other people, and like other people need our assistance oftentimes, right? We've got older parents or young kids, or stress at work, or tension in the relationship, or whatever it is. There's a lot of attention that needs to be had outside, separate from our self-care stuff. And yet when we are willing to take care of ourselves a little bit more, and it doesn't always have to be these like all or nothing, right? Like I was actually just talking with a friend earlier today where it was like, okay, well, yeah, like I want to take care of myself, but like I have all these things I need to do real quick first. It's like these list of things, and I'm like, I know, I totally get that, right? Like in my mind, it was either I'm taking care of myself or I'm caring for the other people in my life. And I needed to wait until this was taken care of or this was done to actually do anything for myself, because it would be taking away from that. And that is a belief system. That's a perspective. That is a mindset that keeps us stuck in the same old patterns over and over and over again, always putting ourselves on the back burner and then getting burnt and not being super happy about that, being frustrated and overwhelmed and too many things on the plate. And so when we are able and willing to like take that pause, and it's really interesting because how much time does it actually take? Right? What actually needs to happen or be in place to have a sufficient enough self-care to actually boost and support the care that we give to others? Like how much is it? I think it's probably a little bit different from person to person, but I would imagine that for those of us that have really made that a priority, realizing that it's, once you kind of get into the habit of it, it's actually not that much, and it lifts up and it balances and it supports the rest of our life, gives us that sense of peace of mind, and comfort and strength that we need to kind of move forward through the day. Hmm. Yeah. Oop, I think I lost your face there for a second. I was like, what happened?
It was just me pressing the wrong buttons, whatever. No, yeah. I mean, what happened for me, especially around food, was just that I didn't have myself anywhere on the map. No, not even at all. Like I had kids and then it just became all about them. And I said I would never do that. I had friends that had done that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure I take care of myself. And no, not even close. So yeah, that really changed a lot of things because I didn't realize how much I was just not like dealing with and stuffing down like with the food. But like these days, it's just as simple as that coming back up, and realizing like I just did it spin out my entire day and didn't take any time for myself. And like having that reflection, I've realized that just as simple as, well, like you said, first of all, a mindset shift. Like literally, like, so, for me lately, I've been going through these like 2-day patterns, right? For like a couple of days, I'll be just like mindless or whatever, just not like focused, not paying attention to whatever that is, my internal stuff, my what I need, whatever. And then I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go anywhere or whatever. I think I need all these things to be like grounded or whatever. Like literally it'll be a moment, a conversation with someone or a recognition that I have, and then I share it or whatever, but usually involves other people. And then it's literally just my mindset shifts around and everything looks different. Everything feels different. And then everything literally is different moving forward, just from like that very simple acknowledge, like that awareness. I always say awareness is key. Like that's my first step. I can't get anywhere without that. It's not always my favorite thing that I am become aware of, but if I have that awareness, I'm not just, you know, bobbing up and down in the water, like drowning in my whatever's going on. I can actually see and then make a decision at that point. And so for me lately, it's like I realize that I have this time frame around 4 o'clock in the evening where nobody really needs anything from me.
Hmm.
And I'm like, school is done. The boys are, occupied doing their thing. I don't have any like meetings or whatever, and the dishes are done. And I don't have to get in the kitchen to make dinner till 5. I can sit down with a cup of tea. And so when I have that, and I've had this before, it's not like I have had this moment of clarity and then done this for a while and then totally forgot. So for like a week or so, I have not even been doing this for myself. And I'm like, why is there 0 moments in the day for me? What happened? Like I've never been here before. Like what happened? And then the other day I was like, okay, I'm going to be aware of the moments in my day. And then that 4 o'clock hour was there. 2 days in a row. I went, oh yeah, that's the one. Sit down do something for me. So yeah, it can be so simple.
It really can, and I love that. I love that little, and again, like the inability to see that and take action on it when you're under stress is literally the hallmark of stress. You know what I mean? Like if you cannot find like a possibility, an opportunity for like a couple of minutes of reframing the mind and like there's no peace when there actually is nothing to do, right? Like that is a telltale sign that the stress in your life, and it's not just the outside stuff, right? It's the way that we're perceiving it. And then oftentimes what we're actually putting in our bodies as well, right? Because when we're talking about stress, a lot of times we're thinking about like, the mental and the emotional, which is big, right? But there is also the kind of the physical stress that then becomes mental and emotional because then it throws our hormones off. Right. And that was the email that I sent out earlier today, was about hormones and the 4 things that affect the hormonal balance or fluctuations inside of our body. And it is literally everything that we eat. Right. So when we say like, oh, it's just empty calories, or oh, that only had this many calories, like the calories are kind of irrelevant. I mean, calories in, calories out, like there is an argument for that. But when we're talking about hormones, the calories are totally irrelevant because it is what is actually made or produced or triggered inside the body. Everything that we eat either triggers like an awesome hormonal response in the body where it's like favorable to energy and vitality, or it's depleting of it. So there's no such thing as empty calories when we're talking about hormones. Also,
Mm.
everything that we drink, same thing, right? It's like, oh, well, it's, sugar free, but it's got, whatever in it, right? Whatever thing, like, oh, it doesn't do anything to the blood sugar. Okay, it's still information, right? There's still a response in the body based on the things that you're drinking, right? It's like water. Oh, there's nothing in it. Not true. Water is information. Water is hydrating. Water is the essence of life. Water cushions the joints. It helps transport water soluble vitamins. It is, I mean, it's just like a slew of things that water does that is beneficial and positive. So everything we eat, everything we drink, everything we think, right? So all of our thoughts, the thoughts that we have when we look in the mirror, the thoughts that we have when we get in and out of the shower, the thoughts that we have when we're putting on our clothes or making decisions about the food that we're eating or the conversations that we're having or the emails that we're checking or the kids that we are raising or whatever. All of those thoughts create hormonal responses as well. Again, either awesome to the balance and the energy of the system or depleting of it. And then, of course, the last thing is everything that we do, right? So our physical activity does matter, right? Sitting down in front of Zoom, God bless Zoom. I love you, Zoom. Right? But those hours and hours and hours behind Zoom without getting up and walking around or moving, like it's taxing on the system. Or sitting on the couch watching TV all day, or more of the favorable kind, if we like take the dog for a walk in the morning or get out and get a little bit of sunshine, if it's the you can see the sun in whatever state that you're in. I mean, even getting up and cleaning the house, right? If it's a cold day or you can't really get out, right? Doing some deep breathing exercises. One of the ladies during the one of the challenges that we had last month was so cool. She posted a video of her being on a Zoom call at work, and she had one of those exercise balls that she was bouncing on. She had her, her camera off. It was just a listen kind of webinar. And she was like, I'm getting my workout in now. I have a treadmill under my standing desk, right? So like there's lots of little ways to tweak and to incorporate movement into our already schedule. I know you had a really cool way in which you incorporated movement into your day. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. I realized that, I mean, just for me, especially with the pandemic and stuff, we were just at home a lot. And I was like, okay, well, um, I'm more of a like, if I could get to a gym or like a class, like Zumba or something like moving and interacting and music, and like I just am more motivated by that. When I try to do exercising in my house, it's a complete disaster. The kids are all over the place, or like my son's at an age where he's just like watchy, judgy guy. He's not like do it with me
Why are
guy.
you doing it? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he's like, okay, are you trying to be cool? Like I literally was doing yoga and he said I was trying to be cool. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So right, I'm sure people have experienced any number of those things. But what I realized was like this time frame that we were outside every day, and I flashed on back when we would go to the playgrounds. um I remember this one time there was this woman. I don't know if she was a mom or a nanny, doesn't matter. There was this woman and the kids were playing, and she was like doing step ups on the cement wall. She was like doing push-ups on the wall. She was like just that's just she was moving her body and getting her muscles going like while they were playing. And I just remember I was sitting on the bench eating snacks going, that's freaking awesome. Like more power to her. That's awesome. Like I'm not there, but that's really cool. And I flashed on that because I was like really seeking a way that I could move my body that actually made sense in my life. And this was like last like spring or no, it was last summer, in the summer. So I flashed on that. And so I looked up instantly, I Googled like exercises to do while the kids are on the playground or some crap like that. And that was what it was, like step ups on the bench, going up and down stairs, or I came up with that one on my own because there was a bunch of stairs at that house. And like I was doing the push-ups on the chair with my feet on the chair. And then it was definitely recommended like to just doing push-ups on the wall. Like it doesn't matter what it is or what level you're at. If you can feel your muscles going and you're breathing and you're getting cardio and you're working your muscles, like that's something more than just when I just be sitting there. And it was great. It was really great. Like I felt really good about myself to be doing something, even though it wasn't much. And then
I love
I
that
was
you went like this because you know like what a BS that is, that
it's
like the
BS.
belief system. Yeah. That it's like all or nothing. Like it's either like an hour in the gym hardcore with the trainer or it's not even worth your time. It's like
Yeah,
that is not actually true.
totally. And in the group that we were in, it was motivational with the motivational movement and the morning routines. It was like that was what was, or like it was some kind of research I did because I'm like a researcher. And it was, I like learned that it doesn't matter how long, it does not matter. 20 minutes, hold on just a second, just a second. 20 minutes, just a minute, that's like a lie. Just a second. 20 minutes of like whatever you're doing that gets your heart rate going and stuff is like, you don't have to be working out for an hour or hours at a time to be like getting a good workout or something that's good for your body. And I learned that through you and your lessons, getting the mitochondria, blah, 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 and it's like, it's
The
like,
mitochondria. Yep. Yep.
it's so simple, and it changed my whole outlook for the day. I was talking to a friend about it, and she was having the same situation, 3 boys at home, blah, 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 blah. And I was sharing with her what I was doing. And we were at her house, and I'm looking at her space, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good cement wall there. And like, you got your stairs, and like, who knows? But then we were talking and having this like acknowledgement together about what we were experiencing. And what I experienced was like, after I did that set of stuff in the morning, when I sat down, like at the little table outside while my kids were playing, like I felt good about myself and I felt good about doing that. Like I felt like, because otherwise I just felt like a lazy bum all the time if I was like sitting and hanging out while they're playing, and they would play all day long. So I'm like, I'm not going to be up and doing that. But I just felt like good. I felt accomplished. I felt like I earned sitting down, and it was good. And I'd listen to a podcast, and then I'd be like elevating my spirit, and like it's just a good way to like figure out what works. When people say that, it's true. What works for you? What works in your space? What works in your life? Like I would sit for years going, well, I like it like that, but I can't do it like that. So then I wouldn't do it at all.
Right. I can't do it exactly like that out there. So I'm going to do nothing. That has been coming up for me so hardcore. Just the idea of like being 1% better than myself yesterday, right? Like literally, like when you say 20 minutes, I'm like, you don't even need to start with 20 minutes. Just do 1% more than you did yesterday. And
Right.
maybe that's like literally going up and down the stairs twice and like, listen, shaking your booty like this. And it's like, all right, cool. Right. Because just like you said, those little mitochondria in the cells, every time you move, they're like, woohoo, like it's a party for them. And they get stronger. And the stronger that they are, the more energy that they're producing for you. And that's why the more that you do, the more you want to do. But also, if you overdo it and then you get to that exhaustion point or you hurt yourself because you've been working out too hard, oh my gosh, that is an energy motivation destroyer. So, right. Slow and steady definitely wins the race in that way. And then it's the mindset, right? So it's the eating, the drinking, the thinking, and the doing. Oh my goodness. So what's really cool about that is kind of like flashing back into our hormonal cycles, and like this is a real thing for women, right? Like we're either on the younger-ish side and noticing that like our monthly cycles are dramatic and traumatic, and we're either like gaining weight or have all kinds of issues going on, or our skin is off, our energy is off, or like super hormonal, heavy periods, major cramps, like, certain conditions that go along with that sometimes, or we kind of maybe don't really notice or think that it's normal and kind of move into more of like the closer to menopause years and notice that things are starting to get real tough. And that's really a symbol of not like just I've been cruising along and all of a sudden my hormones change and now everything's out of whack. Really, we have the ability, so much more control, so much more power to really navigate and manage our own internal thermostat, more before we get into those years. Or if we're already there, then that's cool too, right? Like we definitely, and again, every time we eat, every time we drink, every time we think, and everything that we do has a hormonal response on the body. So ladies, if menopause, or the fluctuations in hormones, you noticing that there's a lot of stress, there's tension, there's weight gain, there's irritability, there's frustration, there's diagnosis of multiple issues, there's the kind of irritability where it just seems like things are too much. Those are all signs and symptoms that hormones are out of balance. And just to let you know, like if you're in that space, it can be very overwhelming and upsetting, right? Especially if you feel like you're doing a lot of the right stuff. Right? That can be just the worst. And so I just want to encourage you to keep doing all the good stuff that you're already doing. And if you would like some help and support on figuring out like where the weak link is, then let us know, PM me. So that's a private message, an instant messenger. And, happy to get back to you immediately so we can kind of talk about what a plan looks like for you moving forward, because we deserve it. We deserve to feel good in our bodies, right? And that doesn't make everything perfect because we're still going to have a body which is imperfect on the best days. But it certainly can be the experience a lot softer, a lot nicer, a lot more balanced.
Definitely.
Yeah. I know that you've had some pretty notable changes in your cycle since changing the way that you eat, drink, think, and what you do as well. You want to just note that for a moment?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my cycle, my hormones like ruled my entire life for like since I started my period, and it just got worse. Like the older I got, and I was diagnosed with PMDD, and what I really learned about it from my doctors and stuff is it's like swelling. Like it's like we take on water, and so it's like in our brain, which makes us like foggy during that time, and like makes us bloated, and all that kind of stuff. And so I would take things that helped, like diuretics, and you know what I mean. I would take things because I was a take things kind of person to try to help with whatever was ailing me. And so yes, this food, the way that my food is now without flour and sugar, and that like just it's inflammatory type of foods, and I didn't realize how much that affected me. And now my life is so different. Like, so before, my cycle would be like, oh gosh, it's coming, I can tell, because it was just total chaos and totally crazy, and then like so many cramps and so much pain before it would come, and then it would come, and then it was even worse and super crazy, especially after having kids. And then and now it's like a surprise. Like, what the heck is that? Like, it is so different. It does not rule my life. Do I still, like you said, am I still a human, a woman with like, I still have hormones, like they're still there. So like sometimes, for just a couple of days, I'll feel a little tired than usual, or sometimes, I'll feel just like I'm not really super with it. Or before I start, I'll be just like crying for like, you know what I mean? Like super, like, yeah.
All you crying many a times.
Yes, weepy. We get weepy for like, a day or so. But let me just tell you, ruled my life is an understatement. Before, I felt like I had 1 week of sanity, and that week is when some craziness would go down in my life, and I'd be like, really, this is my 1 week, and now this is going on. Like, I swear to, for years. I'm turning 40 in a couple weeks, and this has been my life. So now, like I said, it's not like that. Like, I'm literally surprised. Like, I have a little tracker. I have to have a tracker now to tell me that it's coming, because otherwise it sneaks up on me, which is like crazy and amazing. And I'll be like, oh, I'm starting. And like, yeah, it's just so different. It's not just like this land of fog and this land of emotion and so much pain. It's just not like that. I just feel like like a normal person with like a normal cycle or something. It's just, I never knew that it was possible. And I was diagnosed with PMDD. And now all I did was change my food, which I mean, to say that is like, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And I get that. So I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? But it's so, just a second, please. It's so simple. And it's changed everything.
Yeah.
It truly changed everything. I'm like, well, all right.
All right. There we go. Like hashtag change your food, change everything. I mean, it's
Seriously.
true too. Yeah. I know that's been my experience as well. I know that not everybody has the like it's dramatically different. Hey dude, what's up, man? Saying hi to all
Good.
the ladies. Too
Say
cool.
All the ladies, there's people watching us.
So cute. We love you,
Almost
buddy.
promise.
Mwah.
Okay. You're so silly.
See, I mean, one of the things about like having a program that works is it needs to work in all situations, right? Like whether you've got kids or not kids, or you're working or not, or you've got health conditions or not, or whatever the issue is, like we don't have to wait. It doesn't matter if you're caretaking for other people. It doesn't like none of that stuff really matters when we really get our mindset in the direction of hope, right? And it's so important to be hopeful and to keep that sense of hope in our heart, to know that even if we don't know exactly what the path of least resistance is, the path to our health and our vitality, the path kind of like out of the stress and the fog, like just to know that there is one is really, really powerful as well. So Natalia, thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for walking through the muck to the other side so that you can share that there is another side. It's really powerful.
Absolutely. I'm happy to share it.
Jude, too cute, Jude. Love you, baby. All right, I'm going to exit out of here. Love you. And ladies, we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Talk to you soon.
hi, hi.
Bye bye.
I get this alligator.